Bag, I want the bag. Work my way from a garden to a track. Flip it from a track to a plot full of acres. Do it for the farmers and producers and the makers. What we even here for? Occasionally I ask it. I know it's more than struggling, anticipating the casket. Reap what we sow, trying to fill up my basket. Life's a plantation, I self-law and master. Over the plot I've been granted on this planet. Now it's slanted, cause the chosen been supplanted. But if you overstand it, it was spoken. Fractured, but we ain't broken. Even though some would rather play the role of token, we growing. Black through the essence of a presence. We carry the blood of gods, we carry the mind of peasants. Rich black gardens, future look more like Eden. Multiply seeds like the seed banks in Sweden. Rep my planners on plan according to season. B1 code, switching it up is treason. Black power, family what we eat. Either we get fed or we feed. B1AG.
What's growing on? What is growing on? What is growing on? Welcome back to B1AG. I'm John Henry Harris. We also have Farmer Brown, the MC. Here at B1AG, we focus on agricultural production, marketing, health, food, nutrition, all for the Black family and for the Black community. Welcome back. Technical difficulties yesterday. Facebook was out and a few other social media platforms, they were out. And, we're happy to be back in this space and be able to present to you today with B1AG. Today, we're going to talk about baby food. Now, baby food is something that's been marketed to us, and it's very important because, we're nurturing our babies and we want them to grow and be healthy. But there is a known problem with baby food, and that is the heavy metals that are in baby food and the effects it has on the development of our children. So today we're going to tackle this story and hopefully inform you to make better decisions when it comes to what do we feed our kids. And we're going to have we're going to really discuss what we're feeding our kids as far as food, but we also need to make sure that, we feed our kids socially and spiritually as well. So today the subject is heavy metals in baby food may cause ADHD and autism. Farmer Brown, what do you got to say about what we're feeding our children?
The feed. First, I'd just like to say peace to the B1 family. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope it wasn't too many people that had anxiety. The 5 to 8 hours shutdown of Facebook. This is a deep topic. I think today we're going to have a lot of metaphors that are pretty much literal when we think about this concept of the feed, especially when it comes to our babies, the young ones. When you're talking about rules of engagement, especially when you're talking about war, in the past, generally, you don't attack the elders in the community or village, and you keep the babies out of it. But I think when we think about, the drama with Facebook, they have the whistleblower talking to Congress right now, giving a report, just talking about how deeply Facebook and, related social media sites are feeding certain thoughts into these young people. And today I thought it was very interesting when you had brought this to my attention about the baby food. I had done my studies before my twins were born. We were very dedicated to, we wanted to make sure we fed them natural foods. And I think this story right here only further cements the reason why we need to protect the feed. And this is also an opportunity for local producers as we have this conversation about how do we localize our food systems and make it rain on some Black producers.
Now, there was a subcommittee on Economic and Consumer Policy Committee on Oversight. They actually did a study about the baby foods, and their findings were pretty unnerving, to say the least. Four of America's biggest manufacturers of baby foods have been selling products that contain high levels of toxic heavy metals that their report found. Now, the four companies were Nurture. They sell Happy Family Organics and Happy Baby products. Beech Nut, Hain, which also sells Earth's Best Organic, and the biggest one of them all, Gerber. They all agreed to the subcommittee's request to be studied. However, Walmart, Campbell, Sprout Organic Foods, they declined to be a part of this investigation. But what the consumer advocacy group did find was that 95% of the 168 commercial baby foods tested contain toxic heavy metals, including lead, arsenic, mercury, and cadmium. 1 in 4, that's 25%, of the products contain all 4 of these metals, of these deadly heavy metals. And the problem with these metals is that they're linked to behavioral disorders, ADHD, and also autism. And when we look at the Black community, Black children aged 3 to 17 years old are more likely to have been diagnosed with ADHD or a learning disability, which is 16.9%, compared to white children at 14.7% and Hispanic children at 11.9%. So again, a lot of these issues that we find our children going through is linked directly to food, at least one of the links. These toxic metals, they're also found in pollution. So if you're living in a polluted area or, a disparaged area, you're also more likely to be exposed to these heavy metals as well.
If you want to put this into perspective, so we have this B1AG conversation to try to contextualize for the melanated family the implications of not only our diets, but how the food that we eat has every bit of an effect on our behavior, on our ability to perform, on especially with our children, their ability to learn. The best metaphor, and it's just so ironic that all of this happened today with the social media when we talk about this concept of feed. It's affecting children's mind. The whistleblower came out. A lot of the young ladies, especially in our community, have these body shaming issues that is stoked by this social media. And it's not accidental. It's not, this just happens to be a result. As this person is giving her testimony, you realize that profit is what is driving these algorithms. Here at B1AG, we're trying to push this algorithm, this Black algorithm. Really taking the same play that we see, and I'm going to say nefarious entities are doing not only with social media, but with this baby food. Why does baby food have all of this metal in it? Do you got scientists that's sitting in a laboratory just saying, yeah, we're going to put all of these metals and make it toxic for these babies? I doubt that. I imagine there's a small percentage who, really about that life, but a lot of it is based on, I'm growing these apples in California. I'm growing these bananas, somewhere out west, and I'm going to ship them thousands of miles. Then I need to store them until it's processed into these cans, and then I need to preserve it. I need to preserve it so I can have it sit on the shelf. For all of these parents who's busy, don't have time to prepare their own food, or don't have a plug with a local producer to consume this. It takes on the same purpose in our lives as social media. A lot of times, many of us have so much going on, you don't have time to knock on everybody's door, call up everybody to see what's going on. And so it's very convenient. It's very convenient just to kind of scroll through and see what people have going on. But when we think about the food shelves at the grocery store, and I am going to tie this to my family because this is definitely something that triggered us early. By this time I had already gone through my AD courses, food safety and nutrition courses, and I already knew about the metal. I didn't know that it was that large of a percentage, but I understood, we have a choice. Just like with social media, we have a choice whether to push that button or scroll through. We have every choice in the world of what it is we're going to feed our kids. Now, I could go to this fresh produce section or go to the farmer's market or work with the farmer directly. And so, I mean, we're thinking about it's very basic foods that babies can eat in those early stages anyway. You know, obviously, breast milk is the most healthy. With our kids, we gave them sweet potatoes, peas, spinach, apples, pears, bananas, and I canned all of it. Processed it, heat up your jars. And this is another workshop we'll go through at a later date. And you preserve it. And you have that baby food sitting right there. I know exactly what went into it. Didn't put no sugar, didn't put anything, and the babies loved it. Because the thing about with these babies, their taste palates, and I don't want to digress from what I'm saying, their taste palates are developed early on. If they're used to eating natural foods early, then it's not going to be something that's adverse to them later. But if they're started off with these unnatural chemicals, these unnatural ingredients that we see in a lot of these baby foods, then these become the kids that only eat chicken nuggets and hate carrots. These become the kids that, okay, I'll eat everything sweet and I'll detest everything healthy. All of this starts early. When we talk about this algorithm, it has to be programmed. And once again, people are going to make their money. This is what the social media sites have shown us. And evidently from this story, this is what we see that these baby food producers are showing us, that we're going to make our money. To make our money, to sell billions and billions of products of baby food around the world. Put this in perspective. Baby food, and this is as of 2021, is a $77.85 billion market. $77.85 billion market. Just like Facebook. Okay, hey, I see the product that I'm selling you could have a deleterious effect on the end consumer. But if I realize that this end consumer is dependent upon this product I'm selling them, what is my immediate incentive to stop selling this to them? Because anybody that goes to a grocery store has a choice to walk, a couple of feet to the produce section or get a plug with a local farmer or go to a farmer's market. And so if they choose to get this off of the shelf, matter of fact, the FDA made us have to put all of these chemicals on here that we're putting into this baby food. And so the truth is hidden in plain sight. But, you're not going to tell me as a business owner of Gerber, of Natural Foods or Walmart that, hey, I'm going to stop getting this money because, it's hurting these kids. And you brought up the fact about melanated kids. And so there's other discussions to be had about ways that our kids end up getting diagnosed with ADHD, more recent when it comes to certain gene therapies. But I mean, this is as deep as baby food. It makes me think about Flint, Michigan. It makes me think about this concept of kicking the can down the road, benign neglect. I know this product, I know this service is affecting your community negatively, but as long as you're dependent upon me to provide this product or service to your community, and the only thing you can do is talk about it or get mad about it, what would be my incentive to stop? I think this is a deep conversation that the melanated family has to have yesterday.
The war on our children, it starts with our children. The war starts on the children. The programming starts while they're children. The problem with these heavy metals, and this is from Tracy Woodruff, director of the program on reproductive health and environment at the University of California in San Francisco. She studies on how environmental chemicals affect early development. She says the problem is there's no safe level of lead. There's no safe level of arsenic. There's no safe level of mercury. There's no safe level of cadmium. Now, of course, the risk is lower if you have less amount. But I think the question people are concerned about, what parents are going to say, is it going to harm my baby? It's hard to really know, she said. What we do know is that doing certain things can ameliorate the risk. A diet that's rich in fruits and vegetables and proper nutrients can help protect against some of these adverse health effects, like from lead. it's funny. Everything that we talk about here at B1AG, all these different stories, different, that seem so disconnected, it all boils down to natural fruits and vegetables. It's the answer. It's like the cure-all, natural fruits and vegetables. And we really need to pay attention to this. I know we've been marketed to, Gerber, because when you think of baby food, most of us, the first mind is that the Gerber baby. That's been imprinted, that's been laser printed into our brains and into our DNA. But why not just take a peach? And if you have to squish it up, why not take some blueberries and mash them? Why not take a banana and mash them? It's the same thing. As a matter of fact, it's better because you're not adding lead, arsenic that can come from, the manufacturing and packaging of this baby food. That's where a lot of these metals, how they enter into the baby food as well.
Let's put this in perspective. And so, like I said, I know from experience with this one, it would literally take me about an hour and a half to make a week's worth of my twins' baby food. An hour and a half. This is peeling whatever fruits and vegetables, boiling it. You have to boil your cans, sterilize your cans, setting them up, you puree it. We had a little blender. Obviously, you want to always clean your blender. You don't want to mix foods. They used to have peas and carrot mix. I used to get dope with it. We actually had discussed coming up with a local baby food line. Maybe I'm giving too much game. Pears, boil these pears, cut them down. You don't want to boil out the nutrients. So, the thing, it's a balance with everything. You don't want to boil out the nutrients because when you think about how these baby foods are created, they're losing a lot of the nutritional value of whatever it is that you're actually buying. And so this is why they would justify in their minds, okay, we'll add this metal for vitamins. We'll add this metal for some sort of nutrient or to stretch it. I didn't add butter. We did potatoes, sweet potatoes, peas, carrots, squash, spinach. I don't think we did any broccoli. And the kids ate it up. They had no, for one, they didn't have a choice. They couldn't talk, obviously. They didn't know anything about what food is supposed to taste like. And so we were literally their first marketing and what good food is. And so to this day, my kids eat vegetables. Since they had started going to daycare, I noticed a difference in the types of foods they like. I have to put a little bit more effort when I try to feed them certain vegetables now than before they started going to daycare. And so this isn't to throw shade on the daycare workers, but once again, when we're thinking, absolute, when we think about everything being money driven, when we think about a lot of the decisions that are affecting our families specifically are being money driven. As at a daycare, can the average daycare afford to just have all locally grown natural food? Because it's going to hit you up a little bit more. You got dozens of kids that you might have a handful of people watching. Are they going to have time to, get up and create baby food and cook it there on site? Logistically speaking, no. But is this opportunity for parents who's concerned? Here at B1AG, we like to be very specific about solution-based. So I do know, like I said, I can create a week's worth of my baby's food in an hour and a half. This is with the regular stove. This is with you need about 2 different pots to boil your cans and then boil the actual vegetables, and you're going to need a blender. And then you need, obviously, your mason jars, and preferably the smaller ones. But what we did, because we had already started our agritourism company, we already had a network of farmers that we need some sweet potatoes. Hey, y'all got carrots? And so we were trying to be very codified. We didn't know no better. I think the best advice we got when we had kids was there's no perfect advice. And so all of this was, trial and error. And so this is why I can unequivocally say now, I know at least on this level it's possible, if nothing else. Maybe your garden isn't going to produce a year's worth of baby food, but definitely having a plug with local farmers, spending a little bit more time, spending a little bit more money in the produce section at the store will definitely have a longer positive impact when it comes to what you're introducing to these kids. The juices, I know with apple juice, you know, I have my issues about arsenic. Like my kids, they haven't had apple juice yet. And I hate to be, I hate to be paranoid, and I see how parents become like parachute parents, and I try my best not to be that. But I realize, when we talk about the dope game has done a better job marketing our kids than the producer game. The same way applies to when we think about what are the healthiest ways that we can take care of our kids. We can feed our kids. We can educate our kids. And so when we think about this code, how do we get these young parents that we already see the instability with things are shutting down? We see supply chains disrupted. How do we make this a part of culture? Because everybody's not going to have a home ec class. I think I'm kind of telling my age, we used to have home economics. So many of us did learn how to cook, but we can't afford, how much time would it take to try to convince the schools now to interject home economics versus doing this on a communal level? Are we having some of the community influencers, doing their own grassroots home ec classes? Do we have some of the doulas, representing that, hey, along with, some of these workshops I'm doing, we're going to incorporate making your baby food? Do we have some of the local chefs? Are we creating extra bags for some of the local chefs and commissary kitchens to come together in groups and learn how to do this together? And these are all activities and we see it's a $77 billion industry. And so not only are you coming up with specific strategies that you can use where you're at to increase the health odds of the ones you care about, but these are also, viable entrepreneurial opportunities. How dope would it be if you, in each hood around the country, each area where you got a concentrated of melanated people, that you got a few dozen people who have time at home. Maybe they're socially distancing, and they're able to come together cooperatively and actually just create baby food co-ops. This isn't an unrealistic concept. And then come up with the logistical, sustainable way to distribute this to young mothers. Whether you're doing this through the schools, I would prefer that this be a community grassroots-based effort, but it is doable. And we see that, don't take our word for it. These people are coming telling you, no amount of metal is good. And the only way to assure the metal is not going into your baby food, the feed, is preparing it ourselves.
Now here at B1AG, we are solution-based. One may ask, how can I reduce my baby's exposure to toxic metals? One, serve a variety of foods. And this information comes from healthychildren.org. Serve a variety of foods. Give your child a well-balanced diet that includes a variety of fruits, vegetables. Wash in cool water before preparing and serving. Grains and lean protein. Eat a variety of healthy foods that are rich in essential nutrients, can lower the exposure to toxic metals and other contaminants found in some foods. Read the labels. Multi-ingredient baby foods may be a good option, but be aware that they may have the same first or second ingredient. Different flavor blends like kale and pear and spinach and pumpkin, for example, may actually both have sweet potatoes as their first ingredient. It's important to read the ingredients label to make sure that you're offering a true variety of foods. Now, this is where most of the metal is in baby foods, is they're actually in the baby rice, like the infant cereals. Fortified infant cereals can be a good source of nutrition for babies, but rice cereal does not need to be the first or only cereal used. Rice tends to absorb more arsenic from groundwater than other crops. You can include a variety of grains in your baby's diet, including oat, barley, couscous, quinoa, farro, and bulgur. Multigrain infant cereals can be a good choice. Avoid using rice milk and brown rice syrup, which is sometimes used as a sweetener in processed baby foods. These are just some practical things that we could do. But again, make your own baby food. It's not hard.
I got to throw a shameless plug. When you told me about this article, I'm like, oh man, because here at B1AG, this is a labor of love. This is a huge conversation that we realized that good morning, Sister Moffitt. This is a conversation we know we need to have. But when we talk about marketing, I don't know if the family can see this. And so this is a book I wrote. This is when we first had our kids. I had a couple of weeks off for family leave, embedding in their mind. My children used to eat on this book, Pudgy's First Foods. One of the things with them, I wanted them to see themselves. This is when they're pudgy. They're a lot bigger and vicious now. But this is them sitting on the counter as we're making their food. But this is actually a resource. It's actually an educational book. It's poetry. And, we'll give a little bit more information about it later. But it actually goes through the process of how to actually create your own baby food. And what I'm saying to say, when we think about the shutdown with Facebook, when we think about how delicate, our ability to get online and just look for the things we want, it could be cut off just with a button. So this is something you could do on Amazon KDP. You can literally, I think you have to have a minimum of about 24 pages. But you can literally, work with local artists or just take regular pictures and create your culture around your home. Right now, I'm one of my kids' favorite superstars, Farmer Brown, because they've seen little CD covers, they've seen little posters. We definitely appreciate it. And more than anything, they've seen images of themselves on at least 5 different books that they read, talking about ABCs, talking about colors, but they see pictures of themselves. It's nothing like, seeing their faces light up. This is me, this is sister. And this is something we can do when we think about coming up with unique streams of revenue, not only about making the money, but really creating this culture within not only our homes, but our communities. This is something that's feasible. It costs you $0 to set up an account on Amazon KDP. As we're at home watching all of these mandates, as we're at home watching all of these changes go on around the world, while we still do have time. And that's some of the baby food. We have beets, like I said, pears, sweet potatoes, really creating a culture, not just what they're eating, but visual. Like I said, it warmed my heart when my kids would actually try to eat on the book. They would actually chew on the book because it was tasty looking. These companies that we talk about, when we talk about Gerber, when we talk about Jolly Green Giant, when we talk about all of these companies that produce food, they understand a science of color. They know that certain colors are going to entice your appetite. They understand if I can make this, and these are jobs now, as we're shooting this, we're talking about code. So maybe you're not a producer, but you're artistically inclined. When you go to a store, what's going to make you buy one can of peas versus another can of peas? And you got the same amount of money, you're not really worried about how much money you're spending. It's going to be the aesthetic of it. And so they understand making it look all shiny and puffy. The kid is going to point to it. Mom, I want that. And so these companies understand the science of the average parent ain't going to tell their kid no. And so let me take these little toxic concoctions that I'm putting together and put this very pretty, beautiful package together. And these kids are going to jerk in mom or dad's arm and tell them to buy it. And so saying that to say, how can we apply this to creating this B1 algorithm that serves our community?
Definitely, we're pushing the black algorithm. We're pushing this algorithm. All healthy, natural fruits and vegetables. It can help us grow in all other facets of life because it all starts with what we eat, what we put into our bodies. This is our health. This is our energy. This is our lifeline, the food. And we need to make sure that we are putting the best foods in our body to have the best results in life. And again, this is a great book. Farmer Brown, he's a children's author, great author, period. And this is a great product. Again, this is Pudgy's First Foods. It is on Amazon.com. And I would like to play for y'all just a short advertisement for this book, just to give you more information about this book. We need to feed our babies well. We need to make our own baby food, but also feed our babies great information. It's not just about food, but it's also about feeding them great information. There it is, y'all. It's Amazon.com. And how can Farmer Brown, the MC, let them know how they can find your books on Amazon?
You can go to Amazon.com for this particular book, Pudgy's First Food. My Goodman name is Trevor Claiborne. And so when you go to Trevor Claiborne Amazon books, you can find some of my other kids' books. Like I said, we're very intentional about the imagery that our children see. They need to see themselves as the leaders of conversations. They need to see themselves as not the sidekicks, but the main characters. Image is everything. And like I said, there's some things you can say with words, but before there was a such thing as an alphabet, our people resonated with symbols. Our people resonated with images. And so that's a big part of why we do what we do, even with this B1AG conversation. There's a lot of great authors, melanated authors right now putting out this content. And as we talk about how do we build this sustainable, not only present, but future, it's going to start with where our children see themselves within this space. And it's never too early to get our children seeing themselves as, I'm supposed to eat healthy. I'm supposed to be producing what it is that's healthy. I'm supposed to be an entrepreneur. I'm supposed to be earning and providing a product or service that feeds the world, specifically the melanated community first. And then the surplus we have, we sell to others. But all of this starts at home, and all of this starts with a seed. We've never had more reasons to focus on this, family. I think this Facebook shut down. I think this social media shut down. We have all of these writings on the wall telling us that it's time to take our destiny in our own hands. And there are very practical ways that we can do it. We have the All Black Convention coming up at the end of this month. I think this is a great opportunity if you're able to register. We're going to be going in a lot more detail. It's only so much we can talk about on these platforms, but I definitely encourage the family to register for the All Black Convention down in Orlando. Me and Bruh's going to be down there dropping some of this ad cloth, really looking at some solutions. Because I don't know about you, but I'm sick about talking. I'm sick of talking about the problems, because I see nothing but opportunity, family.
And a great opportunity it is. I mean, think about how great the opportunity is to just reclaim your life, reclaim control over your own destiny, steer your own ship, whip your own whip. You feel me? Do it yourself. That's what we're put here to do it ourselves. We've been marketed and tricked into letting them do it for us. And then a lot of us don't even know that we've given them that power to do it for us. And we can actually do it for ourselves. It's been a great conversation today. I hope the B1AG family has been able to really see the complexities of this baby food, what we feed our children, and the problems that lend to solutions that we can actually improve our entire situation with our children. Again, these toxic metals, these heavy metals that are found in baby food, they cause these behavioral problems, ADHD, autism. The less they eat of that, the less chances they have of having these conditions placed on them. Again, this isn't the only cause, but there is no safe levels of lead, cadmium, arsenic. So let's keep that away from our kids. Let's keep that away from us. period. You know, because it's saying it's not just in baby foods. It's not just in baby foods. We need to make sure that we are eating well too, so we can care for our kids better. You can also learn how to grow your own food at healthyblackfood.com. Go to healthyblackfood.com, sign up, teach how to grow your own food. It's a wonderful program. You can watch this with your kids, you know, with your older kids, and make this a family. Just make this a family affair. You know, start a family garden, start a community garden. Good start at your church. If your church has land, get with your preacher, your congregation, and y'all start your own garden at church. Most churches, they have food banks anyway, and you do they help serve food. Stock your own food banks with your own gardens. We really need to get practical and put in the action, get to work to solve some of these problems, because they're not going to help us. They're not going to help us.
Practice makes perfect. We gardens aren't cute little activities. They do take work. And so to not be overwhelmed in spring and summer 2022, 2021 is the perfect time to just start on your balcony. Start in a little corner in your kitchen or a little corner in your house, and depending on the region you live in the backyard. It does take work. You got to water it. You got to weed it. Depending if you're going in the ground, you're going to have to, break the ground. You're going to have to you're going to have to apply some sort of effort. But saying that to say, the sooner that you can just plant your mind around, okay, here's what I want to get, and here are the things I need to do it. Like he said, this becomes a family activity. I could tell you all day, but you'll learn it a lot more by just trying your hand at it yourself and being prepared for whatever may happen. This isn't a chicken little skies falling situation. If I'm to give my honest opinion, I think the family's winning, and they're using marketing to make the family feel like they're losing. But saying that to say, how many of us believe that? But one thing you can't go wrong is knowing how to produce your own food, knowing what real food looks like, knowing what goes into producing real food. This baby food isn't cool.
It's not cool at all, but thankfully, there's always an answer. There's always an answer. There's always a solution, and that solution is to grow your own food, prepare it yourself. Again, push this black algorithm. We need to get back to agriculture. We need to participate. We need to make sure that we have a significant number of our melanated children going into these fields, experiencing this firsthand practical knowledge, hands-on knowledge of how to grow their own food and how the food system works, and strengthening that food system to make sure that we are all food secure. So that's why we always say, when it all boils down, like I said, it all comes down to growing and eating and really partaking of natural fruits and vegetables. So if you really want to know something, B1AG family, Farmer Brown, what do they need to do? What do we all
want to know something? Let's protect the babies.
Protect the babies.
And learn how to grow something.
There it is. B1AG family, I'd like to thank you again for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. Let's grow this conversation. Like, share, subscribe. Subscribe to B1AG Daily Bread Podcast on YouTube. You can check us out on the blackbosschannel.com. And let's grow this conversation. Let's grow this conversation. Let's push the black algorithm. We're fighting against the algorithm, but let's push the black algorithm. Until next time, B1AG family, I'm John Henry Harris. We have Farmer Brown, the MC. Get that book, Amazon.com, Pudgy's First Foods. Pudgy's First Foods. Let's feed our children well. Let's feed our children well. Till next time, we out.